The adults to the back and sit down can have a seat, please. I guess there'll be none then. Thank you. Welcome to the Monday, March 18th, 2024 school board meeting. I will have order, please. This meeting is now called to order. First, we'll start with a silent prayer and then the pledge. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we have anyone who would like to speak on the public comments, to the back at the podium to my right is the sign-in sheet. Ms. Rose, do we have anyone?
No name.
Thank you very much. We'll go right to item number 2, the agenda. There are no amendments to the agenda, but we will be pulling one item from the agenda. That would be 5.7, RFP for health services. We're pulling that because that agreement is included in 5.8, and we want only one agreement. And on the items for individual consideration, we'll hear from the undersheriff, Mr. Chris Andrews, about the K-9 program. So we're back to the agenda. And may I have adoption of the agenda, please?
Madam Chair, I move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
It has been moved by Mrs. Knight, second by Mrs. Gibson, that we approve the agenda. All in favor? 5-0, Ms. Bishop. Now, the consent agenda is 4.1, minutes, 4.2, fundraisers, 4.3, Microsoft licensing agreement, 4.4, audit report. Can I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Okay, it's been by Mrs. Gibson. And Mrs. Thompson, did you second that?
Ms. Knight.
Okay, Mrs. Knight seconded. Questions?
Madam Chairman, did the agreement actually get put in the agenda?
Yes,
Okay, it's here.
okay.
Yeah.
That's 5.8 for the health,
Now, this is Microsoft licensing agreement.
oh, okay, yeah, that got put in the agenda. That's in 4.3.
When Tommy looked at the agenda, that agreement was not part of the packet.
So should that be up under items for individual consideration instead of consent?
Well, his comment on the email to the superintendent was that the agreement's not there. If they're wanting it to sign, the district to sign tonight, he's not seen it and would like it to come back for approval.
Okay.
Okay,
So we're going to pull that. Our attorney has not seen that at all. So we're going to pull it from the agenda.
If there's not an agreement, it's just called an agreement, the quote is there, and
But-
that's all that gets.
Okay, but we're
Okay.
still going to pull it because our attorney has not seen it.
He has seen the quote, he was confused that there was an agreement language.
Okay, and until I hear him say it, and he has, the attorney's here, and until I hear our attorney says it, we're going to have to pull that. So what item is that?
Okay, we'll amend.
4.3. And we will have it for our April meeting? Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, thank you. Okay.
have you passed that motion or like something?
We've not voted on it.
Okay, after you finish the
Do you
motion.
want me to amend the agenda? Amend the,
Amend the consent.
The
motion to
consent,
amend the
yeah.
consent.
Yes, but
Okay.
hold on 1 minute. Go ahead.
okay, I move to approve the consent agenda items with the exception of 4.3, Microsoft licensing agreement.
Okay.
I second.
Okay.
Okay, that was by Mrs. Knight, Mrs. Gibson and Mrs. Knight. Mrs. Gibson Motion has been made, second by Mrs. Knight. Questions? There be none. We'll take the vote on it. All in favor of? 5-0, Ms. Bishop.
May I ask a question now?
Yes, ma'am.
I need to ask Ms. Brown, were your school gonna do a presentation? I'm not talking about the Beta Club, but had you planned on doing a presentation tonight, Ms. Brown?
Usually we do that first.
Well, it's a presentation by Mrs. Brown, so we'll go ahead, and you're here prepared to do it, aren't
Oh,
you?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize it wasn't printed.
Okay, and Mrs. Brown will have your...
Excuse me for that.
Mrs. Brown will have your presentation now. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the other schools have been able to do their updates with you all for this year. In November, when I was scheduled to make our update, I had laryngitis, so I couldn't present. So I'd asked Ms. Joseph to please put me back on the agenda so that we could talk about the great things that we have going on at Madison County Central School. So thank you for letting us jump on your agenda tonight. We sure do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, so first we're just going to start with our current enrollment is 820, and I broke it down for each grade level so that you could see.
Excuse me
Yes.
1 minute. Ms. Hubbard, is that a seat with your pocketbook in it? Somebody can get this seat. Nobody wants it? Okay, thank you.
So this is our breakdown of each grade level. It actually has changed a little bit because we had a new second grader enrolled today, a new kindergartner, and a new eighth grader enrolled today. So those three categories would go up by 1. So we're at 823. I want to talk about our attendance for just a minute. One of our areas of focus for our school improvement plan was to lower our percentage of students who fell below the 90th percentile on their attendance rate. Last year, 49% of our students had an attendance level lower than 90%, so they missed more than 10% of the school year. Half of our students did. Our goal is to lower that to 25%. Currently, 35% of our students have an attendance record below 90%. That even includes our weather days and things that we've had at the beginning of the year. So we're really excited about where we're going with attendance. And we fully expect that to go even lower by the end of the year. So things that we're going to continue doing are the personal phone calls home when students are absent. We do random and planned attendance rewards and prizes. And we're going to continue our attendance sit meetings for those that are in jeopardy of being truant. I wanted to share with you some of our discipline data. That's something we've worked really hard on this year, putting procedures in place, policies in place, things for the students to understand what the expectations are. At this point last year, from August to February, during that time period, there were 956 referrals written, and that's kindergarten through 8th grade. The same time frame for this year, we have 686 referrals that have been written. It's still too high. We want it lower than that, of course, but those are things that we're working on. We're going to continue building relationships. We firmly believe that is key to lowering the discipline, is building those relationships. We're going to continue our PBIS rewards for excellent behavior, and we're going to continue with high expectations equals high performance. All right, so let's talk data. So when I started thinking about what data we were going to present to you, I could stand here and I could give you numbers and I can talk data all day long. But I wanted you to see the data, and those are the students. These are not just numbers, they're children. And so I thought it was important for you all to hear their grade level data and their individual data
from them. So some of them are kind of nervous. We've been working at it, but they're going to come up and explain their data to you. The smallest is going first.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Troy Watt, and I am a kindergartner at Madison County Central School. We're below kindergarten level at the beginning of the year, and now scoring first grade. We're gonna be a Bronco.
Be a Bronco. Good job.
They'll do it every
You
time.
have kindergarten data in your handout. So what you can see with our kindergarten reading, 42% were on grade level at the beginning of the year, 56% were on grade level at our midpoint. 87% of our kindergarten students have increased their scale score. So that is what we are really focusing on, is growth and making those gains at each grade level, because we know without the gains, we won't reach the proficiency. In math, our score was 58% on grade level. It dropped a few points to 55%, but 82% of our students in kindergarten made improvements on their scale score. All right, first grader is Presley Nault.
Good evening. My name is Presley Nault, and I am a first grader student at MCCS. We are learning so much in first grade at the beginning of the year. In reading, 62% of all first grade students were on grade level, and now 70% are on grade level. 80% of my classmates have made growth. In math, 85% were on grade level, and we still have 85% of grade level. 98% of my classmates have made growth. Ask for me at the beginning of the year. I scored as an early first grade in reading and math. Now I am scoring the middle of second grade in both reading and math. Our teachers are making sure we are all ready for second grade. I am proud to be a Bronco.
All right, Jason Gallen for second grade.
Hello, my name is Jason Gallen, and I am in second grade at MCCS. We are working hard to get prepared for third grade. At the beginning of the year, in reading, 24% of all second grade students were on grade level, and now 35% are on grade level. 81% of my classmates have made growth. In math, 50% were on grade level, and now 46% are on grade level. 81% of my classmates have made growth. As for me, I scored on first grade reading level at the beginning of the year, and now I have scored at the end of second grade level. In math, I scored as a beginning second grader, and now I am scoring as a third grader. We are working hard in second grade, and I am proud to be a Bronco.
All right. Third grade, Giselis Ford.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Giselis Ford, and I am a third grader at MCCS. We are learning so much in third grade. At the beginning of the year in reading, 5% of all third grade students were proficient, and now 22% are proficient. We have lowered our level 1 students from 70% at the beginning of the year to 55% now. We have 16 bubble students in reading. 11 of those students are only 10 or less points away from scoring level 3. In math, 0% were proficient, and now 13% are proficient. We have lowered our level 1 students from 83% to 61%. There are 17 bubble students in math, and 12 of those are only 10 or less points away from scoring a level 3. As for me, I scored a level 2 in reading, but I want to be a level 5 at the beginning of the year, and now I am a level 3. I'm only 6 points away from a level 4. In math, I improved from a low level 2 to a high level 2, and I am only 3 points from scoring a level 3. I know I could do it. We are doing great things in third grade, and I am proud to be a Bronco.
All right, thank you. Fourth grade, Miss Brooklyn Brown.
Good evening. My name is Brooklyn Brown, and I am a fourth grader at MCCS. We are showing growth in fourth grade. At the beginning of the year in reading, 7% of all fourth graders were proficient, and now 18% are proficient. 71% of the students were level 1, and now 52% are level 1. There are 13 bubble students, and 10 of those are 10 points or less from scoring a level 3. In math, 2% were proficient, and we still have 2% proficient. At the beginning of the year, 93% of the fourth graders were level 1, and now we are at 79%. There are 8 bubble students, and all of them are within 10 points of scoring a level 3. As for me, I scored a level 1 in reading at the beginning of the year, and now I have scored a level 4. I gained 31 points from the first to second test, so I know I can gain 13 more to make that level 5. In math, I am only 14 points away from a level 3, sadly. We have learned many new math skills, and I know I will make level 3 or even higher on the test at the end of the year. We are continuing to work hard in fourth grade, and I am proud to be a Bronco.
All right, now we have Benjamin Hedge, who's going to come and talk fifth grade data.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Hedge, and I am a fifth grader at MCCS. At the beginning of the year in reading, 9% of my classmates were proficient, and now 18% are proficient. In the beginning, 69% were level 1s, and now it is down to 56%. There are 16 bubble students, and 11 of them are 10 points or less away from scoring a level 3. In math, at the beginning of the year, 5% were proficient, and now 8% are proficient. There were 88% level 1 students, and now there are 76%. We have 11 bubble students, and 8 of those are within 10 points of scoring a level 3. At the beginning of the year, I scored level 2 on the reading, and on the last test, I scored a level 3. I am only 5 points away from a level 4, and I know I will make it. I scored a 4 at the beginning of the year in math and an even higher 4 on the last test. I am only 9 points away from a level 5. I can do it. We are working hard in reading, math, and science in 5th grade. I am proud to be a Bronco.
All right, and for 6th grade, Quanacia Dobson.
Good evening. My name is Quanacia Dobson, and I am a 6th grade student at MCCS. At the beginning of the year, the 6th graders were 24% proficient in the reading, and on the last test, we had 26% proficient. There were 58% level 1s on the first test, and now there are only 33% that are level 1s. There are 31 bubble students, and 20 of those are 10 points or less away from a level 3. In math, the 6th graders were 4% proficient at the beginning of the year, and on the last test, 11% were proficient. 73% of 6th graders were level 1 on the first test, and now there are only 43%. 35 of the 6th graders are bubble students, and 24 of those are within 10 points of scoring a level 3. As for me, I scored a level 1 on the first reading test, and I improved to a level 3 on the last test. What's even better is that I am only 5 points away from a level 4. On the math test, I am one of those bubble students. I am only 12 points away from a level 3, and I know I can do it. We are working extremely hard in 6th grade, and I'm proud to be a Bronco.
All right, our first 7th grader is Bruce Denson, and he's going to talk about some reading data.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Denson. I am a 7th grader at MCCS. In reading, 7th graders were 17% proficient on the first test and now are 24% proficient. There were 65% that were on a level 1 on their first test, and now are only 42% that are level 1. There are 42 bubble students, and 27 of those are within 10 points of scoring a level 3. As for me, I started out the year in reading as a level 3. I improved to a level 4 on the last test. I am only 5 points away from a level 5. I know I will make it. But this is not the only thing that MCCS 7th grade Broncos are good at because of the wide span of activities that MCCS offers. We have choices to learn many new things or to work in some of the things that we already know. Some of the options that they give us are band, STEM, drones, football, baseball, softball, basketball, volleyball. We also have the chance to compete with other students for the Accelerated Reading Award. But I challenged the entire school because I wanted to see what my limit was. Some got close, but I came out on top. In quarter 2, I had 92.6 AR points. And in quarter 3, I had 97.7. But I hope to get at least 100 in quarter 4. In these activities, I truly do believe that everyone has fun and gets a chance to grow. We are doing great things in 7th grade, and I am proud to be an MCCS Bronco.
All right, our 7th grader that's going to talk to you with some math data is Miss Anaya Ray.
Hello, my name is Anaya Ray, and I am also a 7th grader at MCCS. Bruce talked with you about 7th grade ELA, so now I will share some data about math. In math, 16% were proficient on the first test, and now there are 25%. There were 66% that scored level 1 on the first test, and now it's 47%. There There are 34 bubble students, and 31 of those are within 10 points of scoring a level 3. As for me, I started out the year as a level 2 on the first math test. On the most recent math test, I improved to a level 4. I am only 7 points away from a level 5, and I know that I will make it. We are working hard in 7th grade, and I am proud to be a Bronco.
All right, Ms. Kamari Maxwell is going to talk to you about 8th grade.
Good evening. My name is Kamari Maxwell, and I am a member of the MCCS graduating class of 2024. At the beginning of the year, 8th graders were 18% proficient on the first reading test, and now we are 23% proficient. 56% of the 8th graders were level 1 at the beginning of the year, and now there are 48% at level 1. There were 28 bubble students, and 18 of those are within 10 points of scoring a level 3. Math is a little different in 8th grade than the rest of the grades. The 8th graders who scored a level 3, 4, or 5 on the end of the year 7th grade math tests are taking Algebra 1 this year. Their data is not in the numbers I am going to share with you tonight. For the students in pre-algebra, 0 are proficient on the beginning of the year test, and now 5% are proficient. There were 93% of those students that were level 1s on the first test, and now there is 62%. There were 20 bubble students, and 9 of those are within 10 points of making a level 3. For me, I scored a middle level 1 on the first reading test, and I moved on to the next level on the last reading test. I am only 3 points away from a level 2, but I know that I am only 21 points away from a level 3, and I am working extremely hard to reach my goal of a 3. In math, I scored a mid-level 1 on the first test and moved to a high level 1 on the last test. I am only 1 point away from a level 2, but I am only 18 points away from a level 3. I'm really going to try and focus and work on my attitude so that I can do this. I thought it was impossible, and now I can see that I can do this. The data checks I had with Ms. Hubbard helped me to see that I am closer than I thought to achieving my goal.
So that is our data from kindergarten through 8th grade. We also wanted to talk a little bit about some of the clubs and things that we have going on at MCCS. Graceland Phillips is going to come and talk with you about our Bronco Broadcasters Club.
Good evening. My name is Graceland Phillips. I'm a 7th grader at Madison County Central School and a member of the Bronco Broadcasters, MCCS's yearbook and newsletter club. The Bronco Broadcaster has students in the 5th through 8th grades meet once a month to get their assignments and discuss current events. I would like to take a moment to share with you some of the things I've done as part of this club. I've helped take photos of multiple events this year, such as the Homecoming Pep Rally, the Gym Jam, and most recently, our Black History Month program. I've also written an article for the newsletter covering our Veterans Day program that was put together by Mr. Sneed and Ms. Holbrook. I've volunteered to help with the 8th grade superlatives for the yearbook. I'll be designing the pages for the superlatives as well as take pictures for each category.
All right, now we have Brooklyn Brown. She's going to come back and tell you a little bit about the Crochet Club.
Last year, Ms. Willette started working with a few 3rd grade students, teaching us how to crochet. The excitement caught on, and before we knew it, almost every 3rd grader was learning how to crochet. She continued with us this year, and we now have a 4th grade crochet club. She has taught us many things like how to crochet scarves, blankets, and balloon dolls. We have each crocheted a bookmark for each of you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. My Charmette's color. But you have my AKA colors.
Thank you.
Did you? Thank you.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. That's
Thank you.
And Anaya Ray is going to come and talk with you about our newest club that we are really excited about at MCCS, and that's the Junior Beta Club.
This year, MCCS is starting a Junior Beta Club. To be invited to join the Beta Club, students have to meet several requirements. Students must have 0 referrals, a minimum of 3.5 GPA, and excellent attendance. The members will also be required to complete community service hours each month. Due to our club inducting students from each of the grade levels, 4th through 8th, the MCCS has been designated as a 2023-2024 National Beta School of Merit status. This prestigious honor is a true indication of MCCS's dedication to academic excellence and commitment to celebrate our students' achievements. Offering National Beta to all eligible grades provides our school with experiences in leadership development and service involvement, which strengthens and builds our students. There will be 32 members inducted March 25th at 6 p.m. We hope you can all be there.
So those are a few of our clubs and things that we have going on. We also have on the next page is just things that we are very prideful of. We have Bronco Pride, and we are doing lots of great things. We have our safety patrol, the Bronco Broadcasters, the Crochet Club, our Junior Beta Club. We have the book vending machine, and those are for used as an incentive. Students can earn coins and win books out of the book vending machine. We were football conference champions, boys basketball and girls basketball conference champions. We have the district spelling bee winner came from Madison County Central School. We had district creative writing winners. We are taking part in the C2C program this year for all students pre-K through 8th grade. That's students from Florida State are coming and doing hands-on learning with our students for science. We've had wonderful family literacy nights with great turnout, our PBIS celebrations for excellent behavior, our Bronco Award programs for our academic excellence. We had a huge Veterans Day program, Black History Month program, where all 820 of our students were in the gymnasium at one time and did an amazing job. We also are proud to have the District Teacher of the Year for 23-24, Miss Knight. We have our book clubs. Middle school has been having book clubs for girls and boys, and we've had fun serving ice cream at McTeacher Night. So we have lots of great things going on at Madison County Central School. I could have given you the numbers, but I wanted to give you the ones who are producing those numbers. And those are our amazing students at Madison County Central School. We have lots of staff here that have, I'm going to cry. I didn't realize there were so many here. Lots of staff that have shown up tonight too. And it's not possible without every single one of our staff members. What I want you to really look at is on those charts, it's not the numbers that are proficient. It is the change in those level ones from the first of the year to the middle part of the year. We could not do that without every single staff member. It takes everyone jumping in, pulling small groups, working with our students. That's what's moving our kids. It's working with those students, and it takes, I'm going to say it one more time, it takes every single staff member, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them. I'm proud to represent Madison County Central School, and I'm most proud to be the principal of these boys and girls. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown. Thank you and your staff, Mrs. Brown. An excellent presentation, and thank you for showcasing our students. They're just doing wonderful. Thank you very much. We're just going to give whoever wants to leave, we're giving them that opportunity to leave. Thank you, students. Thank you very much. We will proceed with our board meeting, and we'll go into item number 5, items for individual consideration. But first, we have a K-9 program by our Undersheriff Chris Andrews.
Well, I got the real star to show.
Yes.
Oh,
yay.
She's so cute.
That's a hound dog. That's a hound dog, nothing but a hound dog.
So, Ms. Shirley asked me, will I talk about the new K-9 program? Yes, I know you want to talk. This is Tank.
Hey, Tank.
This is his handler, Deputy William Bennett. So far, Tank, he's a 10-month-old Cocker Spaniel. He has about 50 hours of training already with the trainer that we have for him. And by the time that him and Deputy Bennett get done, they'll have probably about 150 hours. And of course, it'll be ongoing. They'll have weekly to bi-weekly training for the rest of the dog's career. He is purchased going through a grant that was filled out through DOE. It's really her dog. So, anyway, at the end of that, when those monies are spent, then the responsibilities financially and upkeep and obviously handler and all that falls on the sheriff and the sheriff's office. So the sheriff said even if this grant were not to come to fruition, we were going to have this dog in our schools either way. So it works out good for everyone. Also, just so you guys know, he primarily is for our school district. But with our surrounding counties.
You don't have a gun on you, do you?
Devin wished that into
I did.
fruition, like she was.
We'll put on a alert over there somewhere.
We ain't got no gun, I got a knife.
As long as you don't have a gun. Look at him.
You made me lose track of where I was. So he'll be primarily for the schools. That's what he's here for. Also, the surrounding areas, the counties. I was just explaining to her earlier, just a couple weeks ago, I got a phone call. They were wanting to know if we had our dog in place yet because the other county needed some help. Taylor, Swanee, Jefferson, all of our sheriff's offices work pretty good together. So when one needs help, because that's a little dog to cover all these schools if we get to that point. So we're going to be reaching out to. So that's where he is. And if you guys got any questions, I will give it a shot. Anyway. None?
I just want to pet him.
Take him around.
Again.
The important part is my dog.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't wear him out with the other counties now.
It'll take a lot to wear that thing out.
It will, okay.
He's wide open.
He's only 10 months old.
Because he's a pup.
For another 5 years.
He's an
Okay.
English cocker.
You want to help me?
It's okay.
So he will also, just for your information, he'll be on campus from now on. He is not certified with his handler yet, so he will not be doing detection.
You don't want to say it, okay.
What certifications are you going to be getting him?
He'll go through FLEC, which is a certification out of South Florida. It's national. We used to do NAPWADA, but the FLECA seems to be the better certification for working dogs that are non-aggressive. So all of our dogs are FLECA certified as well.
I have a question.
Ma'am,
Is this the only handler in Madison County? Do we have a backup handler?
he is the only handler. You don't like him?
I need, if I'm called in to do service, will he understand me? We haven't bonded yet.
For you, you want to come get him.
Okay, I just need to know that I need to bond with him.
No, he's Rose's dog.
I think he'll bond with everybody.
Becky as well.
You better take Rose.
Okay. No, I can't, no, it's Rose dog. Don't put me there.
Well, we'll ask Miss Rose before we do anything.
Okay, thank you.
Let's go see Miss Rose.
Thank you very much.
Bye, Tank.
Get your dog.
Anybody else? No questions?
I'd just like to thank you because I appreciate everything you do and especially having Tank on board.
Well, we're glad to do it. It's good and
Yeah.
bad at the same time, I guess. But I think he'll be a bigger deterrent than anything, which is
Yeah.
what we'd rather have anyway.
Thank you
Will-
very
will-
much.
Will you be rotating school, how will you operate that? I mean,
So he's assigned to the central school,
okay,
but once the handler and the dog are trained together and they're actually certified, then he'll probably
go
move
around. Yeah, thank you.
Are
But
there
he's-
any more questions from the board members? None other. Thank you, Ms. Andrews.
Guardian,
Okay.
Yes.
He's gonna.
that's
do
me
the-
too.
Okay. Okay, item 5.1, Guardian Program, under Sheriff Andrews.
Yes, ma'am. Also, Captain Hawk with me, he's a partner of mine with this as well. So it's been a while since I come in front of you guys. Matter of fact, I don't think you was here. I don't know if you was here, Miss Vieta, or not, maybe, for the Guardian thing?
In the beginning.
So it's been a while. So currently, our standard practice within the district is admin only, correct? I would like to present again that we change that and add teachers. Just to kind of clarify some things. We as an agency do not pick your guardians. We have no say in who you choose, who you don't choose, and why, or any of that, as they're your all's employees. Just because they're chosen, and you can ask around, doesn't mean that they'll complete the training and be a guardian. He and I are pretty strict. Actually, we're really strict.
They ran me out the program.
I don't believe that's true.
Come on.
So we take it very serious because we know that our teachers and our staff and all didn't choose the profession to be that we're in, so to speak. We totally understand that, but we also don't cut them any slack in training either. We prefer that you guys pick ones that you think more or less than anything mentally can handle it, because it is a big mental challenge to be able to switch roles. Across the state, we can't pull no real numbers because it's secret, right? So there's no database that you can pull and say we have this many guardians, there are this many teachers, this many staff, that kind of thing. Although 12 agencies that I know personally, every one of them use teachers, predominantly teachers. I think at first we were okay, but now if you think about it, your principals and those type staff members have other things that they need to do immediately if that happens. And most of the time this stuff happens in a hallway, in a classroom, those kinds of things. And I think it would benefit us better as a program all the way around to have teachers in the program. But again, it's up to you guys. We don't pick them, we don't request them, we don't ask for any of them. We train who you bring to us, and if they complete the training, they do, and if they don't, they do not.
Ms. Joseph, do we have any of the teachers who wants to participate?
We have not ventured down that lane yet because right now it has not been an option.
And we'll do a workshop on that.
Okay.
I definitely would like to explore that option. I know I brought it up a while back. I think that's something we definitely need to discuss.
Okay, so what would the motion be for us to explore whether we want to or not?
I wasn't prepared to vote for this tonight.
Participation in the Guardian Program.
Do I have a motion and a second to that effect? I mean, let us have some discussion on it. Any other discussion?
I'd have to think about this because it's already been brought to the board. And me personally as a teacher and knowing children with my experience, even the kindergartners, they can tell you what color nail polish you have on, your tone. I mean, in other words, they're very, very observant. Extremely. I mean, I'm talking as a kindergarten teacher, and I was also at the high school for the last 8. But you can't fool the kids. And this is what bothers me. You say, oh, we'll conceal it. They don't know. These kids know what's going on. And this scares me. I've already voiced my opinions before. I may be the only, that's okay.
No, that's fine.
But I know, but it's just, it really bothers me that we're going to make the teachers the policemen, which you said, they didn't go to and I know you're, hey, I've got all the respect in the world for you guys and girls, believe me. But this issue bothers me.
It bothers all of us.
It bothers me that we actually have to have everything, but this is the world we live in.
We agree.
But the fact that we're going to arm teachers, this bothers me. And I guess it's going back to me being the teacher, thinking, these kids are so aware of what's going on. And they look up to they spend, I think, most of their time observing the teacher. So how can you conceal something like that?
So we already have this program in place, and we have now for 5 years. Is that right? Have we had that issue yet?
You haven't had a teacher armed.
We haven't had a teacher, but we've had
that's
plenty of staff that are everywhere in the schools.
I realize it.
We agree, and we weren't a huge fan of the Guardian program either, as a law enforcement agency.
Right.
Because of that reason. However, we also realistically know how long it's going to take for one of us to get to you.
Right.
That's why listen, my wife teaches. She don't want nothing to do with this.
Well, I will say this. I feel like we're trusting these teachers with our children's education, and if they're comfortable enough to go through the training and to carry a gun, as a parent, I would feel comfortable with my child's teacher carrying. But that's just me.
Well, board members, we can have a workshop on this. And when we have that workshop, we can invite the public, as is any workshop, and we can discuss further instead of, just harping on it tonight because the decision has not been made. And we can have a workshop on it. I'm scared of guns too, that's why I ain't I ain't getting mine.
Well, you kind of did.
Yes. Kind of.
Yeah. Yep, no problem. So
we'll schedule a workshop and you all can be at that workshop if you care to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that would be amazing, so you can answer any questions that may arise.
We can have the parents and we can have some staff, anybody involved who wants to attend that workshop.
I mean, the world is not changing and it's getting worse. And at the end of the day, if we have teachers who are qualified and willing to keep our kids safe, it's something that we need to discuss.
So we won't be
I would
making
say
a
to make
decision.
it successful that the staff and your already guardians in place need to do their due diligence in choosing the right people.
So we won't be making a decision on that tonight?
No, I understand.
I'm just saying, we won't be making a decision on that tonight, so after the workshop, it'll be placed back on the agenda.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Thank
I
you.
move to schedule a workshop for agenda item 5.1.
I second.
It has been moved by Mrs. Knight, second by Mrs. Thompson, that we schedule a workshop for 5.1 Guardian Program. Any other discussion? All in favor, please show your hands. 5-0, Ms. Bishop. Thank you all.
Thank y'all.
5.2, person.
Ms. Hagan, do you want me to send out some possible dates and come up with some possible dates for the workshop?
Can we go ahead and schedule that tonight before we leave?
Okay. Well, let's go ahead on and while she's doing that, and then we can come back to it when you look at some dates.
Okay.
Personnel changes, 5.2.
Okay, we have no personnel changes tonight.
Okay. 5.3, instructional material plan. Mrs. Hill.
Thank you. Each year, we're supposed to submit to the Department of Education an instructional materials plan. That's just our process for adopting new instructional materials. We're going through the process now for social studies. And the state's adoption period for social studies actually opened last school year, but with all the controversy going on with the topics, we did not adopt books because the previous year when we adopted the math, then they pulled them back and we had already ordered. And so we wanted to make sure we didn't get caught in that again. And most districts did the same thing this year. Even though this is the year to adopt science, everybody's kind of a year behind in the cycle, so we'll be doing social studies, and then next year we'll adopt science. So what you have there is just the general outline of the dates for when things will take place.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any questions?
You've already answered mine.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that information. Do we have a motion and a second to accept the instructional material plan?
I move to accept the instructional materials plan.
Second.
It has been moved by Mrs. Gibson, second by Mr. Carroll, that we accept the instructional material plans. Questions? There be none. All in favor of? 5-0, Ms. Bishop. Okay, and you know that our superintendent is getting some possible dates, and we'll come back to that for the workshop.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the field trip?
Okay, Madam Chair, I've got several field trips requests, and I need you to understand, these are field trips requests. The board is giving these groups permission to go on trips. Now, they have to arrange transportation. The transportation may not fall through, but I don't do transportation, they follow the transportation, so they can't say, you approved the trip, so I'm going. They've got to work out their transportation. So if you hear anybody, they don't have transportation for me, we have one set of buses, okay?
But when they work out that transportation, they will let us know, won't they?
Yep. Okay, we've got a third graders at Madison County Central School asking to go to SeaWorld. That's being paid for by UNICEF. We've got the Madison County High School, High Tech students going to Busch Garden, and that's being paid for out of the High School High Tech grant. We have the FFA Veterinary Science going to state finals. That's paid for out of the FFA program. The MCCS Pre-K 5th grade 5th day farm going to Valdosta, that's also out of UNICEF. The MCCS 2nd grade is going to Mission St. Louis in Tallahassee. That's paid for out of the UNICEF. The Madison County Central School 5th grade going to Georgia Aquarium. That's paid for out of UNICEF. The Greenville SeaWorld trip to Orlando, they're going in 2 different groups. One K through 4 is going one day, and the 5 and 6 going another day. Also, that's being paid for out of UNICEF. And we've got the STEM students going to FAMU. That's a free program at FAMU, but the district will be paying, the math STEM grant will be paying for that. And so we are looking for ways to fund these different programs. So those are the field trips requests that I have at this time.
Madam Chair, I move to accept the field trips as listed.
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Knight, second by Mrs. Gibson, that we accept the field trips. Any discussion? None. All in favor of? 5-0, Mrs. Bishop. Okay, 5.5, staff trips.
We have no staff trip requests for this meeting.
Thank you. Okay, 5.6, RFP for audit services. Ms. Rose.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You know this is a good evening for me. I saw the puppy. We do have an RFP in front of you for auditing services. This is exactly the same RFP we put out last year, and the review committee said that they would like us to put it out again, and they would like us to have a wider distribution. So we're asking you to approve the RFP for, this is for internal accounts, for auditing for internal accounts.
And remember, board members, when we finished that audit last year, we brought it before the board, that the same group, the same people who served on this committee would serve this year. They
Right.
agreed, and it was brought to the board, and we did approve that committee.
So we're looking for you to approve us posting the RFP.
Yes, ma'am. And Mrs. Rose, will your office contact that committee?
We will.
When we,
We will. We've
And you
already
will give
set
us
up
the
a
dates
mailing
and all
list.
that good stuff when we need to. Yes, ma'am. All in favor, can I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the RFP for audit services.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Carroll, second by Mrs. Gibson, that we approve the RFP audit services. Discussion? All in favor of, please show your hands. 5-0, Ms. Bishop. Okay, 5.7 has been pulled because it's in the plan for 5.8. 5.8, RFP for broker health services. Ms. Rose.
Yes, I have before you a combined RFP, and I did send it to Mr. Clay this morning, and Mr. Reeves has already looked at it. His only concern was that it wasn't clear that it included health insurance, but that is already in part of it, and what I did to make that even more clear is I changed the title from employee benefits to employee medical health benefits, comma, section 125. If you will go to page, if you have it in front of you, on page 5 of the RFP that has been posted all week, that was clear in item D, like in David, that it included health, medical, hospital, pharmacy, dental, vision. This is a combined RFP asking for a broker and medical service providers and consultant services. So I would ask, as long as council is good with that, I would ask that we move forward with this RFP and get it posted as quickly as possible, because in order for us to have any other potential options for our employees this year, we have to get this thing rolling, because we have to have all this in place by probably the beginning of August before we can do an open enrollment. So I would ask that the board consider allowing us to move this from draft to final and move it to posting.
Any questions or discussion from the board on 5.8?
I know that you all met with Brown and Brown. That would have been Melanie and Matt, correct?
They came in.
Okay.
Yes.
And so is that something that is this going to be sent to them for a proposal?
They already have contacted us. They came to visit us, and they have been asked, all three of the, we had like 3 brokers that have contacted us already,
Yes.
and we've offered each one of them the opportunity to provide us samples of what RFPs would look like, including their type of services, and then what we did is combine them all.
Okay.
Everybody has been told we will be vendor neutral.
Okay.
And
Yes.
it will remain a
clarify.
decision of the insurance committee to make a recommendation to this board.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. It had been sent to everybody besides the person.
Well, we haven't sent
people
the
Mrs.
RFP
Thompson
yet.
was talking about.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, board?
I move we approve the RFP for broker health services.
I second.
Okay,
Thank you.
been moved by Mr. Carroll, second by Mrs. Thompson, that we approve the broker health service plan. Any other discussion? All in favor, please show your hands. 5-0, Mrs. Bishop. Okay, you might as well stand there for 5.9, financial report. Please, ma'am.
Okay. All righty, so we're moving on to the financial report. If you will look on pages 1, 2, and 3 of that packet that was posted, I kind of say 1, 2, and 3 because it's kind of broken up. I can't get it all on one page. So you will see that in the general fund, we have received $14.5 million in revenue this year. One of the things I wanted to point out was some of the things that went together. So in the handout that you had and that was posted, you're going to see what actually makes up the FEFP part of that funding. We do have funding that came in for general fund for school recognition. That will be released at the end of this month. It will be released per the SAC decisions. And so whatever their plan was in place as of February 1st will be how we will roll those funds out. And if you will also note, we do have obligated funds for about $700,000 that have been put aside toward part of some of our FEMA claims. We are not releasing any of that funds yet because we don't know. There's been some talk back and forth that those funds might be clawed back. So we just want to put them aside until we know for sure that we're going to be allowed to keep them. Because we don't want to end up having to pay them back, spend them and having to pay them back. We are waiting for finalization from the insurance adjusters on the FEMA projects, and we can get into that at a later time. So for the $14.5 million that we've received this period of time, we have expenses of 14.5. So we're pretty close to getting money in and getting money out at the same rate. However, remember that the fund balance will fluctuate every month depending on the level of revenue that comes in. We're almost at the end of our tax revenue, so you're going to see a lot more expenses coming up at the next couple months. We have currently an 18.31% fund balance, which equates to about 200,000 per point. So that is not money that is not obligated. It is money that is there, including the obligations we have to cover the expenses that we had planned for this year that we did not have revenue coming in for. I just want to give you a heads up, and I know that Ms. Knight will probably hear this in our April meeting, but our property insurance, we have been asked by FSBIT, and not only us, but every county has been asked, when the property insurance renews, it renews on May the 1st. Traditionally, FSBIT has given us till July to start paying the money up for our property insurance. Moving forward, they are going to start staging in that we pay for our property insurance, not the whole insurance, but our property portion of that, which is around $700,000, that we pay for that between May and July. So you're going to see some big property insurance payments coming out soon that are going to help address that so that next year we won't have two sets of payments going out at the same time. So that's just a heads up on the general fund.
Let me make a comment about,
Sure.
a while back, I discussed this with the superintendent already. A while back, we received an award from FSBIT for having most improved claims.
Actually, it was the most improved from one year to the other for
Okay.
each county.
Okay.
We improved more so than any other county in claims, but we did not lose the claim thing.
And we didn't receive any money for it, we just received
No,
recognition.
we just received
Oh, no,
recognition.
we didn't, I know we didn't receive money for it, but I'm just saying we did get recognized for that, though.
We did.
Which was a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Okay.
It's a good thing. It's a move in the right direction.
Move in the right direction, okay.
Okay, debt services, you can see that we've had 186,000 in revenues and about 22,000 in expenses. That is a payment that is due in June for around $250,000. This is the one of the final remaining payments for the renovation at the high school. Fund 3,000 or 300. We have received, which is your capital outlay funding. We received 1.464 million so far this year. This month, or this period, we have paid out 782,000. Looks great. However, remember we have payments to the charter school that have to come out of that, and we also have 2 chillers at the high school and 1 chiller at Madison County Central that are going to soon need to be replaced and not just repaired, because they've been repaired and repaired. They are about 23 years old apiece. So they're starting to show the wear. So we're trying to budget in our capital outlay ways that we can get that paid. And we're also looking at energy control systems at Madison County Central, because their controls need to be on one master, software. Is that how you would say it? One master software. So we're looking at moving them to a similar type of setup as they have at the high school, so it can be controlled remotely. So we can shut them down, turn it off, turn it on, and that with a lot more ease than what we're doing right now. So those are big expenses that are still pending for capital outlay. Ms. Chair, we okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I know it's a shock, but didn't know if you had a question.
Well, I'll save it.
Okay. Food services. Now, the food services fund, if you just look at this report, it looks a little bleak. I'm gonna say we had 878,000 in revenues and $1 million and almost $1.1 million out in expenses. However, we had 2 short months in there where we didn't have full days. We had people released for one reason or another, and students weren't here, but maybe staff was here. So every time that happens, the revenue from food service goes down. We do have about $160,000 pending in transit that is coming out and due to us. But even with that, it's going to make the food service balance pretty much be a zero or just a hair below zero. So we are going to have to keep a close eye on that. Ms. Iris is working very hard to figure out where we can get funds and how we can better expend our funding. But note that almost all of that is in salaries and benefits. So it's just a watch. It's a watch fund right now. 4,200, those are your title grants. Pretty much a wash. We had $1,375,000 in revenues. We have $1,408,000 in expenses, with the rest of it in transit right now for refund or for reimbursements. That never gets a fund balance. We have 4430. Remember, 4430 and 40 are 2 pieces of the second part of ESSER. Both of those pieces are closed now, so you're going to see the similar reports every time I do this on them. 64,000 in revenues, 64,000 in expenses. Net balance. 4440, 78,000, 78,000. Net balance. 4450, that's your ARP. And we are in the process of making amendments to that program because the way it was originally budgeted and the way it's being expended, we have to reconcile both of those, so we are making amendments. We have spent, we got revenues of 1.37 this month, and we spent 1.4, pretty much a wash, net balance. We are looking at ways we can, when we make amendments, see if some of the money for the chillers and or the energy control system can come from ARP. We don't know how much that is or what that looks like yet. The second part of ARP, which are your smaller projects, we had $310,000 in revenue, $326,000 in expenses. Rest is waiting on reimbursement. Pretty much a net balance of zero in that project as well. I would recommend that the board consider approving the budget as presented.
We're going to accept that financial report.
Okay.
I move. Is that it, Mrs.?
That's it.
Okay, do we have a motion and a second from the board to accept that financial report?
I move to accept the financial report.
Okay.
Second.
Been moved by Mrs. Gibson, second by Mrs. Thompson, that we accept the financial report. Any discussions? All in favor of, please show your hands. 5-0, Mrs. Bishop. Thank you, Ms. Rose. Okay. Mrs. Joseph, staff and allocation plan. Do we have anything here for tonight?
I have nothing tonight. Next meeting, I'll have something there, but I have been meeting with the schools and talking about staffing.
Okay, have you figured out we're going back to the,
Yes, I have a couple of possible dates. Okay, in March, what about on April 1st? We are meeting on April 1st. That's Monday after, Easter. Do we want to come early?
That's Monday after Easter. Isn't school out?
The students out.
Okay, well, we're out too, Mrs.
No,
Joseph.
we have a board meeting that night.
See, we need to take all this stuff in consideration because some of us goes out of town for Easter and that Good Friday, and we go out of town and whatever.
Well,
Board members, we're gonna have to, in the future, take that in consideration, and we can always change it if we want to. But what's your pleasure here?
you want some other possible dates?
Yes, let's.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what about that next Monday, April 8th?
Any objections from the board on that?
That works.
What time are you talking about?
What time works with you?
I think 6 o'clock is good.
6 is
The
good?
workers,
And
people
then,
work till
that's
5.
exactly, and then we will have folk who are not working, any staff in after-school programs if they want to attend. And we'll have everybody, that'll be a time available that
Okay.
should work.
Workshop April 6th to April 8th at 6 p.m.
Ms. Bishop, will you give us a reminder, please?
She said on the invite.
Oh, because sometimes with all these, you know, we kind of forget every now and then. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Ms. Joseph.
Do you want me to continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, continue with the items from the superintendent. Just a reminder, report cards will be issued on this coming Friday. And as Ms. Hagan said, March 29th is Good Friday. We're having to make up that date, but the students will be off March 29th and April 1st. But the staff will be working those 2 days because we had to make up a day. Okay, our next board meeting, which was approved in November, is April 1st. Okay, some good news for you. March 29th, Good Friday is a holiday. We do not make payroll on a holiday, so we're getting paid on the 28th. Because the banks are closed on Good Friday. At your place, I had a letter from a Pamela Shirley. This was a law requiring communism to be taught in Florida classroom. That's information only. Also at your place, I had some discussion with Mr. Attorney Reeves this weekend, and even though I sent this to you, I've given you a hard copy of his opinion concerning renting of space for signs on district property, and we're talking about campaigning. And Mr. Snickner is here to answer any questions about this. This, Attorney Reeves alluded to our policy. This is our policy. This is not something he made up. This is what's in our policy. Any clarification or questions?
I'd like to ask a question. Okay, for instance, I've been a sponsor to many things that are going on. And of course, that's to contribute to help them thrive. You know, that there's banners here and there's banners there. It has nothing to do with vote for me, I'm wonderful, or anything like that. And I'm thinking, is that, now of course, I'm one to follow the rules, you know that. We don't disobey the rules, but is that a problem?
Yes, ma'am, under your existing policy.
Okay, it is.
So if you wish to allow that to occur, you need to change your policy, perhaps do a workshop, and go
Okay.
through your policy change. Mr. Reeves did a very thorough job
Yes.
giving
Yes.
you the opinion about this topic. No need for me to repeat that, but if you wish to change and do more than just the commercial activity that he has explained, I suggest you, and he suggests you schedule a workshop.
Right. Now, to add one more thing to that, I don't approve of putting political signs on school property. I know it's been done in the past.
I don't remember, Ms. Gibson, it has been done in the past. I've previously served 14 years and then was out 4, and then I'm now back, never ever, and I knew that policy. I knew
Okay.
that from the beginning. It has never, ever been done on school
Well, someone
property.
said it was done 2 years ago anyway, a signs on, a sign on.
Oh, okay, I'm so sorry, I didn't see
Yeah,
those signs, and
yeah.
I was campaigning at that time. so
That's,
I didn't
well, no,
see
we're
it.
not, I know, we're not, I wasn't referring to you now, we're just.
I apologize, yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
yeah, I mean, in other words, I don't approve of political sign, we're not political, let's put it that way, okay.
Political.
But I guess in my mind, when I sponsor something, it's to help the school or the organization, in other words, but if it's illegal, we'll abide.
Well, according to our policy, it says that the board shall permit school organizations or school affiliated groups to sell space in district facilities, on district property, or in district publication for the express purpose of advertising the product or services of a commercial organization. This is directly from our policy.
Okay, but that eliminates a lot of those
Yes,
banners.
it hit me also.
Well, no,
okay?
I'm not, I'm talking about just the people who are doing this.
It hits a lot of
It-
just individual people that
it
put that there because
does.
their kids playing.
You're
They
right.
ain't got
And
nothing to
See,
do
that's going to eliminate, of course, now, like Mr. Snichter said, we
sponsor
can make a new policy.
I sponsor
So
other
that might
things
be
and
the
I
best
never
deal.
asked for recognition. I sponsor the Teacher of the Year banquet. I paid $150 like y'all, but I don't ask for recognition. I don't want that recognition.
They gave it
I'm
to you.
sponsoring it to give to the organization so they can have all that money in their treasures instead of doing signs and stuff and whatever, and you have to pay for all that stuff and that advertising. So I just sponsor, give.
I'm just talking about other people, I mean,
Yeah.
like parents.
Yeah.
The way that sign says that they don't own a business, if a parent wants
This
to put a
is our
sign out
policy.
there, they can't do it.
I think
We're
with that-
violating our own policy on a daily basis then. So I think we need to schedule a workshop to
Absolutely.
revisit this policy.
Yes.
Maybe we can do 2 workshops in one.
I agree.
Or separate, whatever.
We kept church and state separated for such a long time, and all this.
You should-
Go ahead.
Madam Chairman, you probably should ask for a motion to schedule a workshop on this issue.
I make a motion to schedule a workshop on this issue,
I
on the
second.
policy.
It has been moved by Mrs. Thompson, second by Mrs. Knight, that we schedule a workshop on the policy. What policy is that? Advertisement policy.
It's policy 9700A.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Well, and for the record and policy, 9700.01.
Please give that to me again.
It's two policies, 9700 parens A and policy 9700.01.
Okay, so I'm getting it correct. It's 9700.8.
Parens A. Parentheses.
Oh,
A.
okay.
A.
A.
A is in the
Okay,
alpha.
I got you. And then 9700, point 01.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I would like to also add, and I don't know, this is just for the record.
Wait a minute. We got a motion here right
Okay.
now. And then,
Let's vote.
okay. And now, is that discussion on this motion, or is it something different?
It is regarding this, but it's not to amend the motion.
Okay. Okay, all in favor of revisiting those two policies, 9700.A and 9700.01? Please show your hand. 5-0, Ms. Bishop.
Okay, let's make it.
You had something else you want to say, Ms. Thompson?
I was gonna say, I know that there have been banners that have been sold this present school year that political candidates have already paid for.
I've asked the schools to give them their money back.
Okay, all right, that was my question.
Okay.
Well, I would
Because
not
I
be
had
wanting
spoken with the
money.
principals about selling them, and they wouldn't have sold them anyway.
Okay.
Well, you need to get with your principals then. Okay. Is that it, Ms. Joseph?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney?
Yes, ma'am. We ready for the expulsion here? Oh, no.
Do you have
I have no
Okay.
other.
Okay, board members in any order that you want. Board members, Ms. Gibson?
Yes, I just want to thank Mrs. Brown and her students for coming tonight, and thank you. I want to congratulate you on all your successes at Madison County Central School. Thank you, Mrs. Brown. And I'd like to thank our friends at the Sheriff's Department for coming tonight. I enjoyed meeting Tank, and I look forward to seeing him in the schools. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Ms. Brown and her students for coming. You know, that it does my heart good to see all those kids get up and talk, and the things that's going on, the real positive things that's going on. I do believe that the school grade came up from the previous year up one letter grade. Yeah, I think it was a C. And I don't know how long it's been since it's been a C. I don't know, but it came up. So that's another thing. But the one thing that you said tonight that is so true is them relationships. I'm glad you put that number one, because the relationships with those students will save a lot of heartaches, a lot of them. And so that's the number one thing I believe, that if you want to change something out of it, you build a relationship with them and it'll change. So I appreciate you Appreciate the sheriff's department. I didn't pet the dog, but, you know, I don't, you know. He didn't like me.
You had to move fast enough.
He growled at me over here. No, I'm just playing, I'm just playing. But anyway, I appreciate everybody coming, all the staff members from the Central School coming. That just shows that you bought in, and all the parents that was here. So I appreciate you.
I would also like to say thank you, Ms. Brown, and all of the staff members and the parents who brought the students to come and present tonight. Frankie spoke about relationships, and it is important that the staff members have relationships with their students, but I think it's also big that Ms. Brown is big on relationships with her staff members. And it all trickles down, and those kids see the relationships that are developed from the top down. I would also like to thank the Madison County Sheriff's Office for your partnership, and I was excited to meet and pet Tank tonight.
Pretty much, again, echoing what everybody has said tonight, I just think it is wonderful for the community and for everybody that's listening and watching to hear the wonderful things that are happening out at Madison County Central School. We tend to have a very bad habit of focusing on the negative for some reason, and I just think that it's wonderful to get to highlight a lot of the positive, and I appreciate you, Ms. Brown, and all your hard work and all of your staff. I just encourage you to continue pouring into these kids at the rate that you are, because it's clearly making a difference, and it's greatly appreciated.
Well, Mrs. Brown, you've been thanked after the presentation. You and your staff has been thanked after the presentation, and now by all of us board members again, and also the Sheriff Department. And I want to thank everybody who's present, volunteers if you're not here, but whatever you're doing for our schools, I thank you.
And Madam Chair, I wasn't done yet.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You hesitated too long.
You jumped in there. Before we adjourn, I just want to address the fact that we have the workshop sitting on the table. Can we schedule that at the same time? Or would you guys like to set a different date for that workshop?
For the policy and the guardian.
Maybe it's, I'm thinking
Our
so.
present time is April 8th. Do you want both of them on the same day?
It's up to the board members.
I think I'd like it separate, because it's going to just require some discussion. Both of them are. That's just my opinion.
Okay, separate they will be then.
Well, I'm not-
April 22nd,
Okay.
that's my suggestion.
That's fine with me.
So we'll have April 8th for the guardian program.
And then April 22nd for the two policies.
Okay.
At 6 also.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Bishop.
Remind me of that.
And presently, we've got some campaign signs. They should be down by now. But if we've got any campaign signs, extra campaign signs, it will be removed tomorrow.
Thank you, ma'am. Move for adjournment.
Madam Chair, I move to adjourn.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.